On today's episode of Locked On Cubs, we talk about the Cubs potentially trading for a certain modern version of Babe Ruth. We also break down the Cubs and that team up north and talk about roster moves as we approach September. It's a packed Monday show, so come on in.
Are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are tuned in to Locked On Cubs alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Pleased to be with you here for a Monday episode, and thanks for making us your first listen every single day. Sam, the Cubs drop 2 out of 3 to the team from Wisconsin. We're going to get to that and break it all down a little bit later in the program, but there was big news over the weekend, as you said in the open, about a certain free agent or potential free agent down the road, certainly a potential trade trip this offseason. And Shohei Ohtani, the Angels' designated hitter / starting pitcher, would be entering the final season of his contract in 2023. And that, paired with the Angels potentially selling their team, is giving a lot of credence and possibility to that club trading their superstar player. And it looks like the Cubs may be a suitor for him. I'll give you all the details in a minute, but how is it going over there? And excited to be with you for another week.
I'm very excited about this news, Matthew. And I would just like to say that you look very good in orange.
Thank you. My 670 The Score shirt.
Yeah, I really like the 670 The Score shirt. Orange is my favorite color. For those of you that listen and have any interest in sending me a birthday gift on November 2nd.
And you look good. It looks like you got a restful weekend there.
Yeah, and that isn't true, but I'm glad that's what I'm giving off. So what's interesting, Matt, is about 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a bit more, we did a show about could the Cubs trade for Juan Soto. In fact, now that I think about it, it's probably about 6 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my reasoning of saying no, I mean, could they? Yes. Would they? My reason was no. And Jed Hoyer affirmed my statement by saying, yeah, we brought in so many of these guys. We're still so fresh. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we were an 80-82 win team this year and it felt like we were one guy away, then maybe we make a move like that. So the difference is, I guess the question is, and I'm going to ask you for a change, what's the difference between Shohei Ohtani trading for him and Juan Soto?
Well, it's the time of year that you're going to trade for him. And I really think that if you're going to make a move to that stature, it has to happen this winter, because the easy thing to say would be, well, just wait till he hits the free agent market, or even wait till July of 23 at the next deadline and see how you match up wins and losses, and then you could strike while the iron's hot and get Ohtani for the final 2 months. No, it would have to be this offseason where you get him for a full year, and you would get that type of player of that magnitude only with the intent of signing to him an extension.
Right.
Now, does that always work out? Probably not. Okay. And historically it has not. Although there's 2 major examples recently in Major League Baseball where that has worked out very well, where 2-star players got traded over the winter and then they re-signed extensions with their clubs. And that was first with Frankie Lindor going from the now Guardians to the Mets, and then Mookie Betts from the Red Sox to the Dodgers. So there's definitely a model in place. I'm going to even give you the Betts trade details in a little bit to kind of compare what the Northsiders could send to the Angels. But this kind of chatter at this point with, on August the 28th, as we're recording, it's very exciting as a fan, because all indications, and let me hear from you on this, because not only are all indications that the Cubs are going to try to win next year, But I feel as though just in the last like 7 to 10 days, Sam, that discussion has really ramped up.
Yeah, it has.
We get veteran players.
That big blue train's
really
coming.
about the Cubs. Nico Horner is talking about, well, we got to have a good final 30, 35 games as kind of a tryout for these free agents.
And Nico Horner had 3 base hits today.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
And of course,
so a lot of good things. And I think there's real momentum for Ohtani to the Cubs. And I'll give Morosi's quote in a minute.
So I agree with you on what you said. And I think to answer my own question, there is also another baseball difference as he kills 2 birds with 1 stone.
Well, that part is incredible.
Right. So the Cubs right now, if we were to go into this season, you feel like, well, they need a frontline starter and they need a left-handed power bat.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Interesting.
So, although of course, Ohtani doesn't mean wins. Just look at the Angels, or Soto, look at the Padres.
Exactly. Yeah.
You start you start to have some fun with it.
You penciling him in the rotation?
Yeah, and you say, all right, well, Ohtani, Stroman, Steele, Hendricks, whoever. And then you look across the outfield with Ohtani,
Well, he would DH, but yeah.
Yeah, DH, whatever, It gets pretty exciting and then of course you take a guy like Ohtani. Yes, he's in a big market in LA, but they're really the baby brother out there, so he's not getting the exposure that he should get. And you bring him into Chicago, and he instantly becomes the biggest name in this city, the most famous person in this city, and his brand goes up a ton. The question is for you, I like this going back and forth. The question is for you is who would you give up for him? Would you give up? Because I know you're about to reference the Betts deal. This guy isn't Mookie Betts. This is Mookie Betts with a frontline starter.
Okay.
So the question is, would you give up would you give up PCA, Brennan Davis, Christian Hernandez, Kevin Alcantara on one deal? Would you give up those 4? And please comment below, would you do that? Who would you say no to? Would you just make the deal at any point? I want more activity on our YouTube channel.
So let me take you through a couple things. Do you want me to give you the Morosi quotes first?
I want you to do whatever you want to do.
All right,
this is your show, and I'm just along for the ride.
Let me give you the quotes from JP Morosi on the score.
Ooh.
Okay, at the end of last week.
I thought his name was John.
It is John Paul.
Oh,
John Paul. I call him JP. Okay, JP Morosi from the MLB Network. He was on 670 The Score.
Who gives a guy a nickname like that?
With Matt Spiegel, okay?
Yeah.
And he said, remember where the Cubs finished in the Derby to get Ohtani at the beginning? He told Parkins and Spiegel on Friday afternoon. My understanding was they were a pretty compelling place. They put together a pretty good sales pitch. Theo was still with the Cubs, obviously, at that point in time, but my understanding is the Cubs were impressive to Shohei's camp. So it wouldn't surprise me if Shohei were to be traded to the Cubs. And you look around, and this is, to me, a compelling time to join the Cubs. They're going to get better. They've already been pretty good through the last couple months. There are better days ahead. So really exciting from JP. And to answer your question about the actual package.
Yeah.
So the Dodgers traded Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Wong for Betts and David Price. And those 3 players were at the time in the Dodger system, in their specific system, number 1, number 3, and number 28. Okay. So I don't know if it would be those 4 players. That seems like a steep price.
I think it has to be.
The steep price would be justified. But yes, I think 100% it's at least one of PCA, Davis, or Alcantara.
Oh,
I think it's Wicks or Hertz, and then a couple other players as well.
And you so here, let's just have some fun with it. Would you do this deal?
Okay.
Brennan Davis, PCA, Wicks, Hertz for Ohtani.
It's hard to trade away two of the outfield core like that.
I'm doing it.
My instinct tells me to do it.
The only thing that I'm completely blinking at or hesitating at.
Yeah.
And really, it's not justified, as the great Lindsey Crosby said on our show. There's not a lot. There's no top 5 prospect in baseball right now in this system, so you can't really blink at any one player. To me, the 3 guys, I go to sleep every night. I put my head on my pillow, and I think one of these 3 guys is going to be a franchise player for the Cubs. Okay. And it's PCA, it's Alcantara, and I've said it again, and I'll say it one more time, Canario. It's one of those 3 guys. So I would really have trouble giving up all 3 of those guys. Correct. Just because I think one of them is going to be a franchise guy. But again, when you just look at what you're giving up, it reminds me a lot of the Kevin Durant trade in the NBA that didn't happen. You're talking about one of the, Kevin Durant is probably one of the 10, 15 best basketball players that's ever played. He's on the back end of his prime, but he's still, he averaged 30 a night last year. And you can't find a valuable trade for him without giving up everything that you've worked to acquire. I just wonder, is an Ohtani trade like that where they're going to say, "Hey, Jed, he's all yours. Give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll chat." And then it's like, well, Jed's sitting here. This is Jed's baby, right? This is everything Jed's worked for since Theo left to rebuild this system to have his own thing. And now he's going to give it all away to one player. And, God forbid you get hit in the wrist and there it goes. So it's very tricky, but it's very exciting.
Yeah, very intriguing. And the other part that I'm just thinking through as we're doing the show,
that I look like I could be on Baywatch. Go ahead.
Is that Anthony Rendon is over there in Los Angeles. I guess it's Anaheim. And the Cubs need a third baseman. And so to lessen the prospect capital back, you take on all the money for Rendon and put him at the hot corner.
Yeah, no, that's a really good thought. And by the way, throw Trout in there. We'll take on his price.
The Cubs need a center fielder.
We'll take on his price because he's got that back problem, and we'll throw him out there in center and do you a favor.
Yeah, okay. That all sounds good. Okay.
And then you can include Troy Gloss and Tim Salmon and Troy Percival and Garrett Anderson.
Maybe Mike Scioscia. All right. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of good Ohtani talk right there. We're going to break down the current Cubs as the Cubs and, dare I say, Brewers matched up over this past weekend, and we'll break it all down next. Now, a message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? What's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. That's a message from the NHTSA. We're back here on Locked On Cubs alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. First listen every day. We're on YouTube. We enjoy being on there, Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts on the audio side. The Cubs lost 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee this weekend. They won 4-3 in 10 innings Friday night, lost 7-0 on Saturday. And then I believe this would qualify as a slow pitch softball score, or I guess just a softball score. 9-7 on Sunday. So a lot here in this series, Sam, and where do you want to start first?
Frustrating to lose a series to those guys, finish the year 10-9 against them.
Right.
Most frustrating thing for me on a personal level was letting Yelich get hot. I don't like him. Just breaking down the games real quick. Crazy game on Friday. Peralta's flirting with a no-hitter. Cubs have 2 hits the whole game, but they're Ian Happ 2-run home runs. They win a ball game. Madrigal makes a really nice play at the end. Yesterday, a real pitcher's duel. Drew Smyly continues to be a revelation, as you beautifully put last night over the text message. Rowan Wick comes in and completely gives the game away. The Cubs obviously didn't score. And then today, so I saw something with Adrian Sampson that was interesting. He actually got
let's
pulled.
Get into that.
he got pulled early because he had something about if he went less than 4 innings, the Cubs had like an extra roster spot available they could replace him with in Toronto. I don't know, some weird thing. Sean Newcomb came in, got crushed. The one, my favorite part of the weekend is that David Ross obviously is listening to the show, because for the first time since we had the show, he actually started a left-handed bat against a lefty. And yeah, McKinstry didn't really do much, but lo and behold, the Cubs knocked around Eric Lauer in 5 innings. He didn't ever find a rhythm, and Nico Horner had 3 base hits. Franmil Reyes found the seats, and Suzuki continued his nice work against the Brewers. Now,
we appreciate David Ross listening, by the way.
And one big point I'll make about the weekend is that I think we're at the point with Rowan Wick, because he's going to be on the team next year, whether we like it or not, that if he's brought into an important spot in the game, there has to be somebody warming up behind him right when he's done with the 3-batter minimum. Because the thing with Wick, he's a 2-pitch guy, and neither one of his pitches is really great. They both have to be functioning at a high level for him to be successful. When they are, he's very tough. But for example, this last outing, he had no feel for his curveball. His fastball is not good enough to get by just on its own. And his curveball, even when it's at its best, is not good enough to get by if he doesn't have his fastball. And it's very obvious to tell within about 10 pitches what he has. And I tweeted out another bad Wick outing after the first at bat to Caratini, 5 pitches in. It was obvious. He had no feel for his curveball. He ends up hanging one to Yelich, gives up a 3-run homer, and that was the game. He can be very good, but you have to be, it's like, oh, Wick's on the mound, curveball's bouncing in the dirt, he has nothing. Let's get somebody in right now.
Yeah, the string is very short with him now. He has just really crashed here in the stretch run of August. Not really sure what his role is. I don't think he's slotted in there when the Cubs get to Sloan in March of 23. I just don't think so. So I guess I disagree with that. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, the Cubs have a lot of improvement to do on the margins, but they have a lot of success and a good track record, especially recently with relievers. So I think there's potential for Wick to get squeezed there on the depth chart. Drew Smyly, it's actually pretty unreal what he's doing.
Sure, and
because he's a veteran pitcher, and he was one of the guys from the first part of the show that I referenced in terms of these veterans who are talking up the Cubs and what the organization is doing for them, and enjoying their experience and being a good spot for a free agent, whether it is just a year or
I did see that, yeah,
or more. And so, that's interesting, because Smyly, just on the list of all the starters going into Mesa in March of 23, that would be a luxury for the team. It would be Ohtani, it would be, Steele, and down Alzolay, and down the list. So,
Seaver,
all these guys. So, yeah. And, Bob Gibson as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's all good stuff.
Matt, Justin Verlander.
And Happ has been red hot. Jeez.
Yeah, he's been red hot, and Contreras has slipped in the early 240s.
Right.
Matt.
Yes, Sam. Yes.
Since July 1st,
mm-hmm.
Justin Verlander is second, and Dylan Cease is third in ERA. Do you know who's first?
Justin Steele.
That's going to be Justin Whitey Ford Steele.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's unreal. And
can I just say that
fun.
I have gotten to the point where when he's
a great interview on Marquee as well.
Is he a great interview on Marquee? I have this feeling when he's pitching, he's just going to pitch well. It's weird. It's like I haven't had.
Yes.
No, I know, but I haven't had that comfort since Arrieta,
John Lester,
or when Hendricks was on his run. And by the way, I just want to remind fans, I haven't counted out Kyle Hendricks yet.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to say that one more time.
Well, no, he's a great number 5 next year.
No, Kyle Hendricks is not going out like this.
No, there's no way. No way. I like that. I like that about you. Let's see here. So Cubs win the season series over that team.
10-9.
They are now 20-16 in the second half.
Did you catch the 9th inning of the ball game today when Reyes hit the 2-run tater and then Nico Horner got a base hit? Craig Counsell looked like he just found out that the world was ending. Yeah, he was pacing. Yeah. His hair was all messed up.
He's like that, though.
Yeah, he's Craig, this isn't a great baseball team that you're managing. And
you have a bad lineup.
And I really sincerely hope that they miss the postseason. Unfortunately, the best move you made was you traded Josh Hader to the Padres, and now Josh Hader is making that guy Castro on the Cubs look like Mariano Rivera.
No, Hader's who's more cooked right now, Hader or the Chicago White Sox?
Boy, that's a tough question.
It's a good
the
question.
Diamondbacks win another ball game.
So there was promotion news after Sunday's ball game, and maybe some promotion not news as well with a first baseman down in AAA. So we're going to get to all of that coming up next. All right, Sam, let's close out the show with some news and notes here as right-hander Jeremiah Estrada and lefty Brendon Little, two names you heard on last Monday's episode by yours truly, have been promoted to the Cubs. They will definitely enhance the bullpen, at least for this week, if not beyond. Estrada, 78 strikeouts and a 1.30 ERA in 48 innings across three levels this year. And Brendon Little is the first-round pick of the Cubs in 2017. He's had a nice August and a pretty solid year overall.
Can I get an age on Estrada, please?
With the Cubs. An age on Estrada, I would have to look into it.
Oh, come on. I mean,
no, well, he's in his mid-20s.
Yeah, I know. I just want a specific age,
right?
And so I'll
23. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's. So I'm really excited to watch him pitch north of the border.
Yeah, no, he's been excellent, and since he's gotten to AAA, he's allowed 0 runs.
And can I warn fans?
Okay.
My theory in baseball,
Blue Jays not a good baseball team right now.
So my theory in baseball series says this is not going to be a good series for the Cubs. The Blue Jays just got swept at home by the Angels. They were blown out in almost every game. They need to start winning. They need to start winning games. The Cubs are in a stretch where they've played about, it feels like 100 games in 15 days. They're limping into Toronto. They're missing some guys.
Right.
The Blue Jays had a meeting today and said, we better get all 3. This is going to be a very difficult series. So don't panic.
Right.
I would be, if we come out of here with a win, 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3, I would be pleasantly happy. Okay. This isn't good.
This would be a good example of a series where you might be better off zooming in on the individual performances.
Yeah, as Nico Horner is going to find a way to hit one out of Rogers Center.
I hope so.
Right.
That'd be fantastic. I think Franmil's going to have a big series up there.
Yeah, I dropped him in fantasy yesterday, and he decided to have a double and a home run today. So,
well, good move by you. That's why you're hosting this show and not a GM. Who didn't get promoted over the weekend is Matt Mervis.
Right, and as Rivas grounds out.
It looks
Rivas
like Mervis
takes a call third.
Okay,
Rivas is it has a really weird profile. He doesn't ever hit a homer, and he strikes out a lot.
That's not a good profile.
No.
Okay, let me get to my sentence. So, Mervis is likely not going to be promoted this year.
Right.
That's what it looks like to me. As a fan, I am a little sad about that because he's just crushing the baseball wherever he goes. You could put him anywhere and he just crushes it. You could put him in the lobby of a hotel. He's hitting he's mashing the baseball
and driving runs in.
Yeah. So I believe triple digits runs batted in as of Sunday's game. So you're not going to see Mervis. What's interesting is Sahadev Sharma reported today out of The Athletic that both Brennan Davis and Matt Mervis are probably going to be 2 of the 7 Cubs minor leaguers that are part of the Arizona Fall League roster. So that's definitely going to be something to keep tabs on in October.
And you're not going to see Mervis because he's not part of the 40-man roster, which means to bring him up, you got to put him on the 40-man. Then you got to get rid of somebody else, DFA him, Rule 5 eligible stuff. It's very tricky. It's above my pay grade. But all us fans need to know is they have a somewhat a logical reason of not bringing him up before spring of 2023. Yeah, you're excited. You're going to go watch some Arizona Fall League baseball this year, and I may or may not join you if I'm unemployed. But
We're going to do recaps on the show of the games.
The RBI matters, folks. Don't listen to these analytical people.
Of course it matters.
Base hit with second on third means more than a base hit with nobody on 2 outs in a 12-run baseball game. I'm excited about Mervis. Less excited about Rivas.
Right.
But it's all right. I think, Matt, I think this last month of the season is going to be a little challenging, right? I mean, unless they continue to just get this almost fluky starting pitching from guys that have track records that say they shouldn't be pitching like this, it's tough. You're mixing in guys. You're seeing you're hitting McKinstry at the top of the order, Madrigal. Contreras is battling an injury. Wisdom's now hurt. You're really going to need Happ, Horner, and Suzuki, who to me is the key the rest of the way. It seems like he always hits well against Milwaukee, which is kind of nice. I'd like to see him do well against others. Those guys are going to really have to carry the load if this team's going to be in a good place offensively. I will say, and I did talk about this with a couple of people, I do see some slight tweaks from Ross lately that I'm not excited about, because that would be a wholehearted exaggeration. But I noticed some things. So, we'll see.
Good.
Was a little bit confused in the ninth today as he let Yan Gomes hit against Devin Williams and then pinch hit Contreras after for McKinstry. I guess the logic there is that because of the changeup that Williams features, he's tougher on lefties than he is on righties. But pretty much everybody's tough on Yan Gomes because his OPS sits in the high fives.
Okay. True. And also, this is like 2 or 3 straight Sundays where the Cubs feel like a travel baseball team after a 5-game tournament. They run out of pitching on the last day of the week.
Well, they haven't had an off day.
It's wild.
Oh, here we go. I can't do it. I was going to.
They haven't had off days since. Get the bingo card ready.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well,
I
it's the first show of the week, though. You probably should.
They haven't had an off day since Calvin Coolidge was in office. It's just getting to be a little bit. They're off. They're off on Thursday, right?
Yes.
Who do they play this week? Oh, they go to Busch Stadium.
They go to St. Louis.
Oh, boy, not a lot to do there. You're going to play baseball, go home, order room service, and watch a movie on demand, folks. Boy, what a boring city. A lot of things Bryant's done that I don't agree with, and then not agree with, but, he's injury prone, whatever. Nothing more factual than what he said. Boy, what a boring town St. Louis is.
All-time comment from KV.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Nico, you had 2 hits on Friday. Let's celebrate after the game. Let's go for a walk.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube.
Let's order some oatmeal.
And smash the like button on all your favorite Locked On Cubs content.
Bad
Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Remember, you can drop us a text, 312-834-46.
Cincinnati stinks, too.
Thanks for making Locked On Cubs your first listen every day. Now make your second listen to Locked On MLB podcast. Paul Francis Sullivan brings humor, passion, unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. PNC Park is really nice, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.